Okay, thanks, Rachel. Good to see everybody here, bright and early. I had a good trip through the state of Michigan this past weekend, and in our league, you just never really know what to expect. And as has become our tradition, we lost the first set to Michigan State, and we are down, I think, 21-16 in the second set, and all of a sudden, we felt our backs against the wall, and we played with tremendous urgency and came back to win that one, I think 26-24, and then played pretty well the rest of that match and snuck out of the Breslin Center with a win for the first time that we've ever played in that facility. So that was good. Maddie Chen had a remarkable match. Maddie Cook came off the bench and gave us a lift, as did Lourdes Myers. So it was a good quality win for us. Raven Colvin, I think, broke the record for a four-set match with a hitting percentage of about .650, somewhere in that range. 696, people are telling me. And so it was a good win. Any road win is a good win. Then he had a day off and got into Ann Arbor and played a team that I feel has got tremendous talent, a really good offensive team, running a 6-2 offense. And we talked before the match about the need to probably win the first set for a change if we wanted to win the match, because I just felt Michigan had too much talent to drop the first one and expect to win. And fortunately, we came out and we won the first set, and we won the second set going away. In the third set, Michigan played their best game of the match, and they beat us. And then in a real brawl in the fourth, we found a way to pull away at the end and sweep the state of Michigan. So that was really, really good for us. And again, collectively, it was just a great team effort. Meg Renner continues to improve, and I think that's one reason that we're as optimistic as we are, is that her play has been getting better and better all the time. Maddie Skimmerhorn, who, as most of you knew, had a leg injury early in the season and has been a struggle to get her back 100%, but I feel like she is now, and she believes that she is. She may have had her best match of her career against Michigan. So a lot of positive things. This week we have Ohio State, who currently is the 6th-ranked team in the country, the most experienced team in the Big Ten, a team that we've had some great battles with over the past few years. And they'll be here Thursday for a 7 o'clock first serve. And then Penn State, the traditional powerhouse, ranked 15th, I think, last week. I'm not sure where they'll be later on today. We'll be here on Saturday for an 8 p.m. start. And the only thing I would like to say is that our senior class is just really leading this team right now. And we have 6 seniors. One's a redshirt junior, but they came in together. They've stuck together through times when they didn't all play as much as they wanted to play, and maybe right now they're not playing as much as they want to play, but they have put the team way ahead of themselves, and just really, really happy with what they're doing in the development. And we got back last night to the airport here at Purdue, and we always meet inside before we send them on their way. And I just told them, I said, look at the improvement that these seniors have made in their 4th year. Look what they've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks, how much development that they've made and what they're doing for this program. So don't ever think that you're to a point where you can't improve and get better and make a difference, because they certainly are here down the stretch, and it's going to help us get in this NCAA tournament and hopefully have some success once we get in it. So that's my spiel for today. Sam?
Dave, when you look at Ohio State, kind of loosely compare it to when your staff came here. It was a program that, had the players, maybe just needed a new direction. How impressed are you with how quickly they've escalated to the level they're at now?
Well, Jen does a tremendous job, and she's got a really good staff. I think that they are in a little bit better condition than we were when we got here. They hadn't finished last in the Big Ten for a couple of years in a row. And the previous coach, Jeff Carlston, had back-to-back top 3 recruiting classes in the country. So the people that are playing right now have been starting for quite a while and came in highly acclaimed, and they're playing a lot of seniors, and they've got great arms, and they have what may be the best setter in the country in Mac Pedraza. She's really developed. She's an incredibly hard worker, great leader, tough kid, and that's where it starts with her. The only junior that plays a ton is Londot on the right side, and she's been their go-to player since the day she walked in the door. She was a freshman of the year in the league 2 years ago, but they've got some development. Their left sides are really, really good. Their middles, especially Riley Rader, is a terrific player. She's out of Louisville. Kylie Murr, who's the libero out of Yorktown High School, really tough competitor, been starting since day one, and is sometimes overlooked because there's so many good liberos in this league, but she's as good as any of them. So they have all the pieces, and they have all the experience, and it's only because they lost some matches early when they played Texas and Louisville and some other people right out of the gate that they picked up a few losses. Otherwise, I think they'd be ranked, as high as second in the country right now. They're as good as anybody, with maybe the exception of Texas.
You talked about the set at Michigan State where, you're about to fall down 2-0 on the road. Can that be a turning point for this team where, your backs are against the wall against a team that's the bottom of the Big Ten, and you fought back one, and then it seemed like that momentum just carried you through the weekend?
Yeah, that's a tough question. Keep in mind Michigan State did beat us a year ago in a similar situation, and this team just found a way to respond. And I don't think this Michigan State team was as good as the Michigan State team from a year ago either, but we were at their place, and I think they'll win a couple matches at home down the stretch, because I think they're playing pretty well and they're staying positive and optimistic. But yeah, I mean, you never know what might trigger a team. I don't think that we've really struggled. We talk about the fact we lost a handful in a row, but I kept thinking we were playing pretty well, and we were getting better. Minus the Maryland match, the other three losses were to Nebraska, who's ranked, where are they, third in the country, and one was at Minnesota, who's ranked ninth. And I know we played well in that one, but I just think every match is kind of in a league of its own. I don't know that you carry over from one. I think confidence is big, but I see that confidence building in all of our players. And again, this is a group, if you remember, that only really two players had any serious playing time, Skimmerhorn and Raven Colvin. Outside of that, it was just a lot of players kind of stepping on the floor and getting their real first taste of steady action in Big Ten play. So I'm pretty proud of where we are, and I like the direction that we're moving.
Did you get kind of the offensive balance you had been hoping for now, where I think that you had 30 attempts by Ellis against Michigan. Maddie Chen had 28, I think, one match, where you're starting to spread the ball out. It's not Eva Hudson getting 50 sets.
Yeah, and that's a reflection that players are getting better. They're getting more done. Raven had the big match against Michigan State where she got a ton of sets for a middle, and she got a lot of sets the next night. I mean, we're going to find Raven. But I think it's going to open things up a little bit more for Eva, because teams continue to go out and they game plan to stop Eva Hudson. I mean, I think the theory is if you can stop Eva, you can beat Purdue. Well, I think that mindset is probably slowly changing as we continue to get development. With Maddie Chen's having a field day right now on the right side. She's got a lot of shots. She has all the angles. You can't just take one shot away from her. Emma Ellis has a lot of different shots as well. Just hits the ball so hard right now. She's playing with power on the left side. We need to get more out of our second middle position. That's going to be really important as we move forward, which is why Lourdes Myers is getting some time here lately, because we know what kind of potential she has. And the more time she gets in some of these matches, the quicker we're going to get her to where she needs to be.
Meg gave you a lift offensively against Michigan as well. Is this kind of a situation now where going forward it looks like that's her role? She's going to be the full-time setter, and because of what she can give you at the net?
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, I've pushed that envelope a little bit just to build her confidence. I did not think that she was going to continue to grow if we weren't giving her the time. And whenever you take her out of the match, when things start to go a little bit south, that's not a good message. That doesn't build confidence. And I do believe that she's got a very high ceiling, and we're starting to see that right now. I feel very comfortable at any point in time going with Grace Balanciefer to come in, especially as a back row setter. But I've tried to stay away from that, only not because Grace isn't playing well and deserves time and can run the show, but because I felt like it was in our best interest as a team if Meg Renner was getting that time, and that she knew that we were putting that confidence in her, and it's worked. That has obviously paid off for us. And I want her to be aggressive offensively in the front row. I want her to score as many points as she can. I want her to be the Renata Dargan of this team. Renata Dargan was a setter when we first got here that was a great athlete, was not even as tall as Meg, but she just scored so many points from the setter position, and I'm a big fan of that. So I'm hoping that Meg will continue to find ways to throw balls down. She's getting better and better each week. Thank you.
Is Maddie Chen 100% on the ankle now?
Sure looks like it. And again, what's first, the body or the mind? And I think that sometimes you have an injury, and until you go out and get something done on the floor, you're not sure if you're back yet. And I think she's been back for a while, and now I just felt like when I think we were playing in Indiana, she came off the bench and did a really, really good job, and I thought that she earned the opportunity to start this past weekend. We're going back to her state. She's from Michigan, and what a show she put on to play there. She looks like there's nothing wrong with her right now.
I think with Vave and Colvin, after that Michigan State game, you said she had a good game, but you also that's a team that she should have a good game against. How consistently can she be leading the team in offense or at that top level?
Well, it's really hard for a middle to lead the team offensively because they're limited to how often you get them the ball, because you have to be in a position with the setters around the net to get the ball to your middles. But I think one thing that she can do to improve, and we're working on this daily, is not just run the same route. She likes to hit directly in front of the setter because that's where she has most confidence in the setter. We've worked all year on her ability to go behind the setter off 1 foot. She's making improvements there. We've got to get her to where she can go run what we call the B set, which is a set about 5 or 6 feet in front of the setter. So we're getting her in different areas. She can be easy to defend, even though she can jump out of the gym. People can defend her if she's going to run the same spot right in front of the setter all the time. I just assume she hardly ever do that she goes other different places. And there's about 4 or 5 other routes she can run to get better looks, providing she believes that the setter can get her the ball in those situations.
How do you feel like Ali Hornung has been playing recently? Has there been a change in her play since she was at Libero a couple of games ago? I thought she played really well when she stepped in and played Libero. I thought she had the best match of her career yesterday. She was so steady as a passer, making great defensive plays, playing with a little bit more passion that I like to see her. She's a real calm player. And I just come from the school where I like our backcourt people to play with a little more fire, But you got to play the way that you can play well. And so I'm okay with however she chooses to operate, as long as she plays like she played yesterday, because she passed serve really, really well, dug a ton of balls. Defensively, she's making great progress. Thank you.
Dave, it's always hard when you're focused on today, but can you give an update on some of the kids that we haven't seen this year that are going to be a big part of your future, specifically a Lizzie Carr and how she's progressed since she got here?
Yeah, I think there's 4 or 5 players that don't play as much. 2 of them are redshirting, but I'll get to them in a second. Emily Rastovsky is a player that redshirted last year, and people haven't seen a lot of her this year. And she's one of my favorite players that I think we've ever had at Purdue. She's a super intelligent kid, like a 4.0 level type student, and is just a happy-go-lucky type player. And she knows that her time is coming. A lot of people in her position would be bitter that she hasn't gotten more playing time. She's a really good athlete, about 6'1.5", touches maybe 10-3, 10-4 with her jump, and she hits the tar out of the ball. And every day in practice, we can't stop her. We just can't stop her. And it's just, at this point in time, you've got all these veteran players that you can count on in matches. It's hard to pull the trigger as often on a player like her. but she's going to be a really good player at Purdue. And when you look at next year, she's going to have a golden opportunity to get some time next year, which would be her redshirt sophomore year. She's out of Morgan Township, small school up near Valparaiso. Lourdes Myers, we're starting to see some more time from her, and she's done some really good things during the last 2 weeks when she's gotten in there. I think you'll continue to see her get playing time. Sydney Yim is kind of our third setter / backcourt player, and she's working really hard even now on her ball control skills because she's trying to determine how does she best get on the floor and play. But another great teammate. That it's funny, sometimes in setting drills, she's not as efficient, but when she gets into gameplay, she's really good. She kind of forgets about thinking too much about technique. She just plays, and she's really good. So those are three that haven't played quite as much as some of the others, but they're all young. I mean, those are all freshmen. You know, two redshirt freshmen and a freshman. And then you've got the two kids we are redshirting. Lizzie Carr, 6'6", tremendous. Going to be a tremendous blocker. She is really smart. Is always into the match. I'm very confident that she is going to become a premier player for us here at Purdue. And then Brielle Warren, who is kind of a left side / right side player, hits the ball with a heavier hand than anybody we have in the gym. When we have players, defenders that are hit in the face with the ball, we normally know who hit it. Okay, it came from Brielle Warren, and we just felt like it made so much more sense to redshirt her this year than play her and get her into 10% of the games. And again, like a lot of youngsters, they don't understand the value of redshirting because it's not something that you grow up dreaming of doing. You dream of playing in the Big Ten, but she has accepted that. And every night she just plays her tail off in practice. And so I think, again, she, Rastovsky, Carr, Myers, next year, you're going to see a 10 of those guys, 10 of them on the floor.
Other question, going back and forth with big arena and small. You played in the Breslin Center Friday and then in the smaller arena yesterday. Just from a background perspective, how difficult is that to go back and forth? And thinking into the future, playing in the NCAA tournament where you may be playing in some larger arenas.
Yeah, I think it's the challenge is going from a small arena where the background is closer, going to a big arena, passing serve. That's where it comes from. Passing serve. Occasionally, a set ball, with big lights and a high ceiling, but mostly it just comes from passing serve when you've got the deeper background with lots of, in this case, empty seats at the end of the Breslin Center. So that's why sometimes if we're going to play in a big venue, we want to practice in Mackey Arena some before we go to the NCAA tournament. Occasionally we have done that. It's not hard to get back to playing in a different venue. It's like if you're in baseball and you're in the batter's box and there's a what's it called when you look at
batter's eye?
Batter's eye, okay, and there's not one. Okay, it's just a field out there, the sky's out there. Or if you have a stadium where they've got a really good batter's eye, that's kind of the difference, okay? So, but I thought we handled the serve great against Michigan, back to a smaller facility, similar to what we practice in on a regular basis. But it can be tough if you go to the big arena and you don't have any practice, you don't have any confidence. Okay, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.